Hi everyone, John Cottrell here of MBODY Yoga, and welcome to Soft Flow Yoga. This is a 60-minute gentle yoga practice. So glad you can join me. So our practice today is going to be called extending and lengthening. Extending and lengthening. So that's exactly what we're going to be doing. I bet you can sometimes feel like you are compacted or compressed. For example, just sitting in a chair or even sitting on the floor like this, just think about what's happening to our spine. It's kind of compressing on itself. And so what we want to do in many of our yoga practices that we do together, it's about lengthening and opening the body. So that's what we're going to be doing. A lot of our focus today will be kind of on through the sides of the body to help lengthen the torso and the spine, and a few leg extensions as well too. So here are the props we're going to be using for our practice. As usual, we like to use something soft to sit on and kneel on. That's just a blanket. It could be a folded towel. You like to use a couple of yoga blocks. These can also be a couple of hardbound books. I've also grabbed my yoga strap. This might help with some of our extensions today too. So if you happen to have a yoga strap or something that resembles a yoga strap, that could be a belt, it could be a jump rope, something like that, something long that you could use to help with some extensions. So I'm going to just set that to the side. And then maybe just a big pillow or a soft cushion. This is my yoga bolster. You're certainly welcome to use a big pillow even to sit on, but it's nice to also have for other postures. It's very supportive when you're using something like this. And that's it. Let's go ahead and start in our seated position. Feel free to cross your legs if that feels comfortable for you. If that's not comfortable, go ahead and extend your legs, or at least one leg. You can even sit up against a wall or sit in a chair for this first part of the practice before we come to the floor and continue, just so that you can feel comfortable in this breathing exercise. What we like to do here is just get prepared for our moving practice by settling in and focusing on breath. Now, as I mentioned before, about the compressed spine, just do your best to sit up as tall as you can. Again, sit up against a wall. That might help you to feel that lengthening in the spine. And once you found yourself in your comfortable position, you can just relax your shoulders. Your hands can feel relaxed here in your lap. And just start with a nice, full, deep breath in. You can breathe in through your nose, and you can exhale through your nose or out through your mouth. Do that again. And inhale, followed by a nice exhale with a sigh. Very nice. Now you can do this with your eyes opened. If they are open, just feel free to look forward or even down at the ground. Just soften your eyes, or you can close your eyes. And just continue with this deep breathing. This is a wonderful way to settle in, to still the mind, to still the body. Letting go of all the things that were distracting us, moving through our minds, our responsibilities and obligations. Let's just set those to the side and become more present, more aware, more connected. Just focus on your breathing. You can consider this a breathing meditation. And just to bring more awareness to your breath, as you're able, when you inhale, just feel the breath rising upward and fill up your lungs. That nice expansiveness in the upper region of the body. And as you exhale, as you're able, draw your navel in towards your spine. It's just a light contraction of the abdominal muscles. Something that feels a little bit of an engagement here. Again, an inhale for that lifting and lengthening of the spine, sitting up as tall as you can. Fill up your lungs, you're opening up your heart space. And then exhale, draw your belly in. Again, that light contraction. Just a way of really focusing and being aware of your center body. You really do kind of consider this the center of your body, kind of this midsection around the belt line. Because when we are moving together, you will find that we'll be moving away from that center in some cases. And then the opposite is also true. We're also moving in towards that center. As we inhale, we're lifting and lengthening. That's kind of moving away from the center. Then when you exhale, we're drawing in towards center. So both of those things are happening at the same time. Let's take 3 more breaths. After that 3rd breath, we'll add a very simple movement. Here we go, together. And inhale to extend your arms out across the room. A nice stretch, reaching all the way up towards the ceiling. That's our first extension and lengthening of the body. Exhale, extend your arms out, and then back down, finishing that whole breath. Let's do that again. Inhale, reaching out across the room, lengthening and extending, reaching all the way up as if you're going to touch the ceiling. Then exhale, reaching out across the room as if you're going to touch the walls on either side of you as your arms float back down by your side. Now go ahead and continue this on your own, breathing and moving at your own pace. So you don't necessarily need to follow me, just go at your pace. And while you are moving, just paying attention to the sensations that are showing up in your body. Again, that nice energy of the arms, hands, and fingers as you reach, extend. Think of this as that stretch we often say when we're doing yoga. Notice the sensations in your shoulders, allowing the arms to reach out and then all the way up and then back down. And because we're going to be doing some side bends, listening and feeling the sides of the body. As you reach up into the air, feel lifted and feel that lengthening quality. We'll sometimes call the sides of our body side bodies. That's a common term you might hear in yoga, your side bodies. Go ahead and finish the breath that you're on, then take 2 more. Go at your own pace. And when you're complete, you just bring your arms back down, hands in your lap. Let everything come back to stillness. Relax. Let's do our first side stretch. I'm going to use a block here just to give me a little bit of a support. So I'm going to place the block on the right side here. Now you can do this with your hand on the block or even your elbow, just depending on how low you go. I might end up with the elbow, and I might even use 2 blocks here. We'll see. Let me go ahead and stack 2 blocks so I can always move them. So let's start with the hand over here on the blocks. Let's extend the left arm out to the side right there. We're going to inhale and take the arm straight up towards the ceiling. And as we exhale, let's start to reach over towards the right side of the room. This is where the blocks can come in handy. Now your hands can be on the floor. I'm using the blocks, but since I've got a stacked set of blocks, I'm going to place the elbow, my forearm, on the blocks here, just to provide just the right support as I reach over myself here. And I can feel that lengthening all the way down through the left side of the body. Reaching, extending, and lengthening. So this is just a bit of an introduction to what we're going to be doing today. To rise back up, I'm just pushing my arm into the set of blocks to help me lift back up, reach this left arm out, and then back down. And just let that shoulder relax. You can even give a little shake here, a circle, just to release. Let's do the other side. So I'm just going to move my blocks. Again, this is optional, but if that feels like it might help you support the body, go ahead and use those books or blocks. I'm going to start with my hands on the blocks. Let's extend the right arm out across the room, just like that. Then our inhale, reaching straight up towards the ceiling. And then the exhale, start to reach over. You might even lean. That's okay if you lean over and reach. Again, I'm going to place my elbow on the blocks here. And I'm also kind of putting a little bit of pressure into the blocks to help me stay lifted so I don't feel collapsed into this side bend, but lifted up. So there's some space kind of on this underside while I'm naturally extending through the left side here. Or the right side. It's your right side. I'm mirroring you. 2 more breaths. Very nice. I'm just going to press into those blocks to help lift myself back up. That arm comes back down to the side. Let everything relax. You can really feel that shift, that change from being actively moving and lengthening to the body that's in stillness. All right, stay right where you are. I'm just going to change my position. still seated here, coming down to your blanket or pillow that you might be sitting on. Let's bring the hands behind us. Just prop yourself up onto your fingertips. As you bring the arms back, also feel the shoulders pull back. You might have to actively do that. And then just tip your chin up just a little bit, making a little space through the neck area to help you open up through the chest. Now you're going to inhale and just push into the floor with the fingers. You'll feel this energy in the arms, shoulders, maybe even your back. Inhale as you fill up your lungs. Because you've lifted your chin, making space, you really will feel that expansiveness, stretching perhaps, or really an opening across the chest. Now when you exhale, draw your belly button in towards your spine. That's that light engagement we did earlier. Even squeeze your shoulder blades together behind you. Now that's a lot that's happening in this seated position. We're really feeling the engaged system. Again, inhaling, pushing into the floor, strong arms. Heart opening as the lungs expand with breath. Exhaling, draw belly in, squeeze the shoulder blades together behind you. Maybe feel the upper back muscles work. All right, one more time. And then when you're done, just lower your chin so you're looking directly forward. Walk your hands towards yourself so we're sitting up nice and tall. And again, we're just bringing the arms and hands to your lap so the body can settle, return to that nice, relaxed state of being. Since that was kind of a back bend, let's do a forward fold. We like to do a different leg posture here, so if your legs are crossed, go ahead and uncross the legs. And let's position them so the feet are touching, the soles of the feet are touching, and creates a hip opener. We often call it cobbler's pose, or formally bound angle pose. And here you might want to take your books or blocks and just tuck them underneath the legs so your legs have something to rest on. Now go ahead and hold on to your ankles or shins and allow yourself to sit up as tall as can be. I'm just kind of pulling on the ankles so I can lift up through the spine. Inhale, there's that lengthening we always want. Exhale, draw belly in, moving towards center as we hinge at the hips, leading with the heart and chin right about here. Not too far, I didn't go very far at all. You can stay just like this. You just want to be at a place where you do feel a little sensation in the inner legs without forcing that sensation. I want to go a little deeper. I'm going to inhale, finding a little bit more lift through the torso, lengthening through the spine. Exhale, draw belly in, really as a way to support the body while in motion, just hinging forward. Again, a tiny bit. Now this feels just right for me. I do feel quite a bit happening, but it doesn't feel forced, it's not stressful, and I feel like I can still take these slow, deep breaths. So those can be indicators for you to help you manage where you are in each of your poses. If you feel like you're tightening up or your body seems to be reacting to some of your poses, or you start to actually stop breathing, alrighty, that's an indicator that you may want to soften things up, particularly in this type of class that we're doing together. Soft flow. All right, let's hinge our way back up, nice and tall through the spine. Come back to stillness for a moment as the body settles. All righty, let's move our props out of the way, and then just carefully make your way to hands and knees. And here you might want to unfold your blanket, just so there's some padding for your knees and your hands here. A series of movements, cat and cow, that flow together. It starts with cow, which is an inhale. You'll tip your chin up, opening the heart. You'll feel the pelvis tip back while the back arches. It creates this U shape or a bowl shape. It's a back bend. The belly drops towards the blanket. That's an inhale. Now exhale, starting with your tail. Tuck the pelvis under, feel the belly button pull up towards spine. This will put a natural curvature in the spine as your chin comes down towards chest. A little push into the floor with the hands so you have strong, straight arms. That's cat. Inhale, reverse it. Now I'm going pretty slow. You can go a little faster if you want. Tipping the pelvis back, belly drops, the back arches, open the heart. Exhale, round it all out. Again, just going at your own pace. This is a wonderful movement for the spine, getting some functionality and mobility through the pelvis. Finish the breath that you're on, and we'll take 2 more. And when you're complete, just come to a neutral tabletop position. Your gaze will be downward right between the hands, so your neck is nice and long and it's straight. Now if you are using some padding for your hands and knees, go ahead and crawl off that pad and just set it to the side. Let's come back out to this tabletop position and get set up for our next pose, which is downward facing dog. You're going to step your hands forward, and as you do so, spread out your fingers pretty wide so you feel this stretch between each finger. It opens the palms, creates a nice base so you feel solid and strong. Kind of push into the mat with the palms as they stretch open. Doing so also will provide length and strength in the arms. That's exactly what we want for this next pose. Tuck your toes under. Then we'll inhale and create that same cow pose we did earlier, arching the back, a little back bend feel. Exhale, round it all out. Pull belly button up towards spine, chin to chest. Hold that for a second, and then lift your knees off your mat. Send your hips up into the air. Now you might need to tiptoe forward even just a little bit so your hips are nice and high, and you form this nice inverted V shape in the body. Keep a good bend in the knees. You can bend them quite a bit, but keep your arms straight, pushing the palms into the floor. Take one more breath here, and as you do so, just shake out the head to loosen the neck. Now take a few steps forward until your feet are underneath you, at least flat on the mat. You might end up standing in the center of your mat here. And just slide your fingers towards your toes. You'll be in forward fold. Let's soften this up. You're going to inhale, slide your hands up the legs, only rising up halfway right here so your back is flat. You're simulating a table. Hold here for a moment. Feel balanced on 2 feet. You can keep a good bend in the knees. My hands are just resting on the shins. There is an extending quality here. Feel as if your hips and tailbone are moving to the back of the room while the crown of your head moves forward. This is more intrinsic, doesn't feel quite as explicit. Shifting your weight back into the heels, bend your knees like you're going to sit down into a low chair. Tip your chin and chest up, take your arms out to the side, drive your heels into the floor to help straighten your legs as you stand up. Reach into the air. Then exhale, bring your arms down to your side. Just like that. You can roll the shoulders, just kind of shake things out a little bit. Excellent. Let's go through that same flow there. It's called our half salute to the sun, where we fold forward and then come right back up. We go slowly, we take our time. We start in mountain pose. Here's an inhale, taking the arms up. Exhale, spread your wings, bend your knees, sit back into an imaginary chair as we fold, bringing your chest down towards your thighs. Your hands will start to lower naturally. Let the head drop, the back will naturally curve. You might touch your toes. Inhale, slide your hands up to your shins or knees and extend your spine. There's that flat back. Let's hold here again. There's our tabletop, intrinsically feeling that extending quality through the spine. Then shifting weight into the heels, bend your knees, tip the chest up, spread your wings, then inhale and stand up even taller than before. Reach up, and exhale, bring your arms down to your side. Go ahead and shake out those shoulders again. All right. Now, the very first movement we do is, after mountain pose, is extended mountain pose. Let's do that again, and we're going to hold it. Go ahead and inhale, take the arms all the way up. Reach into the sky, exhale, hold. As you keep breathing, just keep reaching up into the air. Just going to feel a lengthening through the sides of the body. That's what we want. This is the extending quality we're creating. This is more explicit, isn't it? You can really feel and experience the stretch, lengthening, extending quality. Breathe in, and then exhale, bring the arms back down by your side. Again, that's kind of our theme today. That's good. We're moving, lengthening, and opening. All righty. Let's move into our variation of Warrior One, which we have been doing as of late in our soft flow practice. It's kind of a setup for the second version of Warrior One, which we'll do later. This is the lunge. Let's start by putting a softness in the knees. Bend your knees. Start shifting your weight into your right foot. Press your right foot strongly, firmly into the floor. You might lean forward just a tiny bit and start tapping the left foot back with the heel lifted, toes flexed. You don't have to step back too far. You're going to turn or pivot the left leg, plant the left heel into the floor. You'll shift your body back until you're in center, right here. Very well balanced, but not a lot of distance between the feet. That's fine. Now let's place the hands on your hips. Now here's where you're going to be moving in opposite directions. Hands on hips, you're actually going to be pushing downward. Meanwhile, the upper body is lifting upward. So we're creating a little bit more space in that belt line. And with that extra space, maybe you'll have that functionality to turn and face mostly forward. You can probably do that anyway, but just creating that little extra space just in case. Inhale, let's take the arms out and up. There's that extending, then exhale. We're going to soften it up this time, bending the elbows right here. Again, this is just our variation of Warrior One. A lunge, but it's not too deep. Usually the arms are straight up, but we've got them bent like this at 90 degrees. All right, let's keep it moving. Let's inhale, re-extend the arms straight up. Exhale, bring the arms down. Place your hands on your hips. We're going to lean forward and put weight into this front foot so we can pick up that back foot and step forward, feet together. Let's finish with another extension of both arms up into the sky. Feel that lengthening. Exhale, arms return to your side. And again, if you want, you can shake all this out as we get ready for the second side. All right, again, starting with soft knees. Start shifting your weight now into your left foot. Press strongly. That's your root, because we're going to be somewhat balancing on that foot for a second. Lean forward a bit as we start tapping the right foot back. This is the balancing part. Okay, but the heel is lifted. You're on your toes behind you. Again, not too much space between the feet. We're going to pivot that right heel to the floor. Now we found our center. Okay. Place your hands on your hips, moving in opposite directions, pushing pelvis down with the hands as you extend your torso and spine with the upper body, and then we'll turn to face forward. Inhale, take both arms straight up initially. In the exhale, bend your elbows at 90 degrees. Here's our variation of Warrior One. This will feel and look a little different the second time we get to this pose. And just a couple breaths while we're here. Here we go. Let's inhale, reach the arms straight up. Feel that lengthening through the side bodies. Exhale, bring your arms down. Hands to your hips. Let's lean forward, put weight into that front foot so you can easily pick up that back foot, step together. And then we'll finish. Inhale, extending both arms up into the sky. Extended mountain pose. Exhale, arms return to your side. Very well done. All right, let's go ahead and continue. Let's add on to our sequence and get some more lengthening involved. Starting in mountain pose, standing near the top of your mat. Make sure your gaze is forward, nice long neck. Shoulders naturally rolled back. Good posture. You can soften your knees a little. Then inhale, let's extend the arms straight up. Get that lengthening. Exhale, spread your wings, bend your knees, sit back into the imaginary chair, folding slowly, coming down. Maybe your hands land at your shins, but they can always slide down toward your ankles or feet. Inhale, slide your hands back up the legs to create that straight line through the spine. Now this exhale, we are going to fold back down. Bend your knees a whole lot more. Let the back round. Relax your head until you can reach the floor with your hands, and then start walking both feet back to the back end of your mat, and then straighten the line in the body and you'll be in plank pose. Holding here for a few seconds because I believe it's a very nice strength building posture. Inhale. Exhale, bend your knees a little, send your hips into the air, and this is our downward facing dog. Again, you might need to step the feet forward a little bit, even taking the hands out a little wider, which I typically do. So there's a little bit more space in the neck and shoulders. Here comes our second version of Warrior One. We're going to break it down. Inhale, pick up your right foot and extend the right leg straight back. Exhale, bend the right knee, bring that right knee in underneath you towards your chest, shifting your whole upper body forward until your shoulders are aligned over the wrist, and then just set the right foot down. It can be way back here if it needs to be. Just set it down. And set that knee down. Actually, set your left knee down. And so we're going to pick up the right hand and literally go get that foot and leg, pick it up, and place it near the top of the mat. This is going to create more distance between the feet eventually. Both hands on the floor. Let's relift that left knee, pivot or turn that foot so the whole foot is on the floor, heel and all. You may still have a lot of weight forward, so we're going to use the hands and fingers to kind of walk back a little bit, kind of really balancing on the fingertips to help you extend your spine. And you want the very top of your head to point forward, same direction as your right knee and toes. And then pushing into the floor with the right foot, firing up this leg so we can hinge from the hips as we rise up. And then both arms go straight up into the air. Inhale and exhale. See how I lunge? Right there. This is our second variation of Warrior One. So this might feel different. You might even have more sensation. Okay, down through the left hip flexor. This is some extending quality we want. All right, and the arms are straight up. And with this left arm up in the air, okay, from the waistline up, that's that up sensation. But that left leg is kind of going back, okay? So that's why there's this moving this way and moving down that way. That's the opening, that's the lengthening we're experiencing in the Warrior One. Let's add on. We're going to breathe in. Now as you exhale, turn your torso towards the left side of the room as your arms come down to parallel. Just like this, reaching out, that same extending quality through the arms. Make sure your right knee and your toes are still pointing forward. I like to turn my left foot in this case outward a little bit so it doesn't aggravate the knee. It kind of mimics, stay right where you are. It just kind of mimics, see how my left foot really doesn't change. Okay, see? Just like that. Knee nicely stacked and aligned over the ankle. I'm going to take it wide again. So I'm basically just kind of keeping that alignment, okay? Very nice. All right, follow me. We're going to reach forward a little bit to angle the upper half of the body. We're going to bend this right arm at 90 degrees, rotate so we can bring this arm down to the thigh, rest it here, while the left arm reaches straight up into the air, just like this. This is starting to mimic what we did seated at the very beginning of our practice, where we kind of brought one arm up and reached over our heads. We're doing the same thing here, and that other arm was just resting on the blocks, right? So let's go ahead and do that. This left hand reaching overhead, nicely extended. Now here comes that opposite movement. While this left hand is going this way, from the waistline down, I'm going to change this, from the waistline down, that left leg feels like it's moving down that direction, right into the ground, right into that back foot. Okay, even push as best as you can that left foot more into the floor. So that leg is going down that direction while this left arm is moving up in this direction. That creates the length and extension we want. All right, let's breathe in and start to come up a little bit. Exhale, let's start to turn and fold. Catch yourself with your hands on the mat. Rise up onto your tiptoes behind you. You'll be in a runner's lunge. Press palms firmly and strongly into the mat so we can pull or slide this right foot back, meeting the other. We'll be in that strong, straight line of plank pose. Bend your knees a little, send your hips into the air, downward facing dog. Let's do the other side. We're going to inhale, pick up the left foot, and extend the left leg back behind us. Exhale, bend that left knee, bring that left knee in underneath you towards your chest, shifting your whole upper body forward, shoulders over the wrists. Set the toes down, doesn't matter where. Set the right knee down. Kind of lean back, get the weight off the hands a little bit so we can go get this left foot, especially if it's way back here. We're just picking it up and placing it up. Now maybe you can step the foot all the way up to the top or close. That way you maybe just kind of wiggle the toes forward a little bit. And then we'll relift that right knee, pivot right heel to the floor behind you. Again, the weight is forward. I can't pick up my hands because the weight's in them. But if I lift up, walk the hands back, send weight back into that back foot, my hands are a little bit lighter. Remember, extend your spine as best as you can so the top of your head is pointing forward. You might even feel your torso somewhat resting on this left thigh. Press into the floor with this left foot, giving you energy in this left leg so you can hinge and lift, facing directly forward. And once you're tall, bring both arms up into the air. Reach high and start to lunge. Hold here so you can experience the sensation of reaching up into the air. Now we're working that right side. So while that right arm is reaching up, we're feeling sensation perhaps down through that right side, that right hip flexor, just below that belt line, maybe in the upper thigh, back into that back leg, down into the foot. Moving in opposite directions. Very common thing you'll experience while practicing yoga. Let's breathe in right here. Exhale, let's turn our torso towards the right side of the room as your arms come down to parallel. Again, I'm going to adjust my foot just so everything feels nicely aligned, being very mindful how this feels on the knee. It doesn't really matter how much you need to turn that foot, okay? Here's our warrior two. Getting ready for side angle pose. So we reach forward a little bit, leading with the left hand to angle the upper half of the body. Let's bend this left arm at 90 degrees. And then rest this thigh. You can even be your hand if you need to be up a little higher. I'm going to be a little higher this time on this side. So hand or arm on that leg while the right hand reaches straight up into the air. And do actively reach straight up. It's a way of lifting the torso a little bit, creating a little bit more space in that belt line. Now here comes that side stretch, reaching overhead, reaching through the right set of fingers. And remember, that right foot is also active. Just press a little bit more firmly into the floor, back here in that back foot. It'll fire up the leg. You might feel that leg kind of engage, activate, come to life. Here's our side stretch, lengthening and extending on this side. Here we are. Breathe in, coming back up a little bit. Exhale, start to turn. You can bring that right arm down, fold, bring your hands to the floor. Rise up onto your tiptoes behind you. Here's our runner's lunge. Press firmly into the floor with the hands so we can pull or slide that left foot back. Here's our plank pose, holding for strength and energy. All right, let's set the knees down onto the mat like so. Sit back briefly in hero pose. This is hero, just getting off the hands, but then immediately sit off to the side so you can swing the legs around to the front. Then you're going to sit in the center of your mat. We're going to get into a back bend. Let me adjust my mat quickly here. And be sure that you've got your blocks nearby and maybe your strap. Okay, just nearby so you can easily grab them because we're going to lie down. And when you lie down, bring the knees into chest, but you can easily grab your blocks and strap because they're right next to you. Now, when you lie down, bring the knees into your body. I like to take a few moments to add movement here, just to massage the back a little bit. Gets into the hips. I like to get into the feet since the feet are now free for a moment, not balancing and standing. Okay, and just circle the ankles. Wiggle your toes if you can. Let's just get into all those joints. Because sometimes they do feel stiff, don't they? All right, let's set the feet onto the floor, keeping the knees bent like so. Moving to our bridge pose. It's a mild back bend where we're making it supported because we're going to be using the blocks. So make sure you got your blocks. Breathe in to fill up your lungs. Exhale, engaging your core center, using the energy to lift your hips, slide those blocks underneath you, and take a seat. Make sure they're in the right spot so you feel comfortable. And once you're seated, make some adjustments with your feet, maybe your arms and shoulders. I like to get my arms and shoulders a bit underneath me. It's almost like I'm resting lightly on the shoulders, the back part of the shoulders, because they're behind the chest. Feels very comfortable. Less engagement than the regular bridge pose. Usually we wouldn't be using these blocks to sit on. Of course, you can use them anytime. But if we were using or moving into a different version of the pose without the blocks, you would really have to activate the feet and legs and core and back and arms. Here's a little bit more relaxed, but I think we still get a good benefit. We still are opening the whole front side of the body. 3 more breaths. When you're ready, coming out of the pose, just press your feet into the floor, activating the body so you can lift your hips and move your blocks out of the way. Come back down safely, down to the floor. Here comes another extension. Extend your legs straight out front while you reach your arms behind you. Moving, stretching, lengthening in these opposite directions. This is great. This is something you can do anytime. You can even do this in bed. Think about when you wake up, before you even stand up, maybe just extend yourself on the bed. Nice stretch feeling, lengthening, opening, a few deep breaths in and out just to get oxygen flowing, blood flowing, and then slowly start to get out of bed. And you can even call that your yoga practice for the day. All right, let's bring the arms back down by your side. Just relax that stretch for a moment. Let's get into our legs a little bit here since we're lying down Very relaxing, but you do want to use your strap here. So we're going to draw the right knee into the chest, use your strap. Let's do our best to wrap the strap around the bottom of that right foot, and we're going to extend this leg. Now my leg can go straight, but don't worry if yours does not go straight. All right, if there's a bend in the knee, that's fine. And don't worry about trying to reach up to touch your toes. That's what the strap is for, to hold on to the foot. Alrighty. Now because of the strap, you might be able to extend the leg. And if you can extend it, but it's at an angle like that, that's also fine, okay? As long as you feel that, okay, my leg is lengthening, and with the flexed foot, which is kind of natural while you're in a strap, pushing through the heel, as if the heel is trying to reach for the ceiling or out towards the corner of the room, that's what we want to feel. Couple more breaths, nice hamstring lengthening and stretch quality that's happening here. Then we'll release. I'm going to bend the knee so I can release the strap and re-extend the leg out onto the floor. Before we do the other side, just take a moment just to relax. Take a breath or two. It's nice to give yourself a little time in between each side. A little quick rest moment. All right, let's bring the left knee in. Same thing, we're going to wrap the strap around the bottom of the foot. You'll start to extend that leg. Just do your best. Again, it could be at an angle if the leg is straight, or if it's somewhat straight up, you can even bend the knee. Flex the foot so you almost feel like you're pushing through the heel. Notice what happens in the leg. I can really feel that shift, that change through the hamstring, especially with the leg extended into the air. 2 more breaths. And when we're complete, we'll bend the knee. We can release the strap. So we're done with the strap for now. We'll set it to the side. Let's do another stretch or lengthening. Reach through the feet to the front and reach the arms behind you. Lengthening. You can even add a little wiggle, a little side bend feeling here too. All right, let's bring the arms back down, but as you're able, let's bring the knees into chest. We're going to rock our way forward and back up to seated, or if you need to, perfectly fine to roll to the side, which I'm doing. Roll to your side and use your hands to help press yourself up to a seated position. Just for a moment, let's sit to extend the legs like this. Flex the feet, kind of like what we just did lying on the floor. Okay? Flex the feet to energize the legs and keep them straight. We also want an extended spine. So here we just use the hands, pressing into the floor by the hips. Push to help extend the spine. So we form this nice 90-degree angle in the body, an L shape. This is called staff pose. So this is a yoga posture. Let's hold here for a couple breaths. It's very active. Flex the feet, pushing through the heels. I'm pushing into the floor with the hands to sit up tall. My shoulders are rolled back, squeezing shoulder blades together. Nice length through the neck. Inhaling to find that length through the legs and torso. Exhale, we're still drawing the belly in. Take one more breath. And relax. Alrighty, let's make our way back to hands and knees again. I'm just kind of leaning to the side and getting my feet back behind, coming back to hands and knees. But I'm going to bring in the padding again, okay? Because I think this will certainly help. Because we're going to do kind of a sideways pose, opening up kind of sideways. And we'll be putting some pressure on one knee and one hand, so some padding will be nice. So just start in our tabletop position. Let's just go ahead and repeat our cat and cow flow, just to get that nice undulation through the spine. Feels really good, and that rocking through the pelvis. We're going to get ready for a side stretch, another side stretch. All right, come back to a neutral position. Here's how we'll set this up. Tap your right foot and just swing that right foot off to the right side a little bit. I call this a kickstand. It's really just for balance. Then lean over into the right hand and right knee. Extend the left leg back like this. You're on your toes. So the leg is straight, but you're still on your toes. The weight is still on the right hand and right knee, but we're going to open up sideways, just like this, taking this left arm up into the air. So this is what I mean by a sideways posture. It kind of resembles, in a way, like our side angle poses. And we're going to get into that side body stretch. All we're doing is reaching this left arm overhead. Reach as if you're going to try to touch that wall in front of you or towards wherever your head is pointing, reaching that same direction. Let's give this back leg, this left leg, some energy. Flex the foot. That'll energize the leg. And just as an option, if you can and if you want to, even if just for a couple of seconds, lift that foot and really reach into the back of the room. And then we can set it back down. A little bit more dynamic. All right, let's turn so we can bring the hands back down to the floor. Bring that left knee in or down to the floor and bring this kickstand back in. Let's get off the hands for a moment. Let's do what I call half hero. Tuck your toes. Sit back just so you can get enough weight off the hands. Right here is fine. Because that was a lot of pressure on that right hand, correct? And so you might just want to circle the wrists, even a little stretch. What I do is a little pulse. You can see me do it with my left hand. I just pulse the top of the hand 2 or 3 times lightly on over here. And I'm going to do the same with my right hand since that's the hand that we were resting on. Okay, not too hard, only a few times. And then I like to wiggle the fingers. Okay, and just helping to massage and reopen, okay, in the hands since that was a forced flex position. A lot of forced flexed hands in yoga, right? Let's do the other side whenever you're ready. If you're still stretching those wrists, that's fine. But let's get set up for the other side. Coming back to our tabletop, so there's that forced flex sensation in the hands. Working the left foot, tap it. Let's swing that left foot off to the left side. For a kickstand, you can always change that angle for more support. Leaning into that left hand and left knee, let's pick up that right knee and extend the leg back. You're on your toes. Keep leaning to the left so you can open up your whole torso towards the right side of the room while your right hand reaches into the air. Reach as if you're going to touch the ceiling. And then we'll start reaching overhead. And here's our lengthening and extending quality. Reaching through the fingers towards the front of the room there. Remember to flex the right foot just to energize the leg and to keep that sensation of moving in opposite directions. Remember what I said earlier, belt line is kind of the center of the body. And above the belt line, we're going in one direction. Below the belt line, we're moving in the opposite direction. That's exactly what's happening here. Okay, that's a long time on this left hand. So let's breathe in, ready to move. Exhale, let's turn so we can bring that right hand back down to the floor. Bring the right knee back down to the floor. Bring your kickstand back in. Maybe tuck your toes so we can sit back to that partial hero pose, or half hero I like to call it. Okay, and then the same thing. Let's massage the wrists. Gentle pulse on both sides and the top of the hand, just making it go in the opposite direction. Nothing too forced at all. Alrighty. Then I'm just going to go ahead and just sit off to the side. I'm going to move my blanket, set it to the side. We're done with that. And go ahead and sit in the center of your mat once again. And roll down onto your back. And some movement here. All right, let's get into a few more releases and openings. Just go ahead, keep your hands on your knees or shins, maybe flex the feet lightly, and then take the legs wide, all right, until maybe the elbows touch the floor, and maybe you can even feel your shoulders, the back of your shoulders touch the floor. And basically your legs, the bent knees, are just kind of resting in your palms, all righty? You can just hold here. You can even, I'm just kind of rocking myself a little bit. Here's another image that might help you. So I sometimes call this pose frog on its back. So you have frog's legs and it's on its back. Now imagine that same frog on a bicycle and it's pedaling, okay? So you may want to kind of circle the legs If you can, pedal backwards, just to get into the hips a little bit. All right, we're going to bring the legs together. And start to extend the legs up into the air. Now we're not using the strap here, and so don't worry if the legs don't fully extend. I'm just holding onto the backs of the legs. And we're going to do a few things with the feet here. So what you'll do is flex the feet as best as you can, pushing through the heels, and notice the sensations that will start to arise in the legs. So we're flexing the feet, and then as you're able, pushing through the balls of the feet. Notice that change, and then attempt to point your toes. Notice the feeling in the feet. Do that again. Start with the heels. Push through the heels. Notice where you feel that. Pressing through the balls of the feet, and point your toes. Nice fluid motion through the feet and ankles. Again, heels, balls of the feet, pointed toes. Let's relax. Bend the knees. Hug the knees into your body. A little more circles. Let's go for a twist. Let's take the knees over to the left side. Both knees, while your right arm extends out to the right side. So here's another indicator of kind of moving in opposite directions. Part of the body is moving to the left side, while the another part is moving to the right side. So we can split that, in that way too, left and right, as well as top and bottom. But there's still kind of a top and bottom here. Not as explicit, though, as the knees and hands. Here you want to feel like the top of your head, your crown, is moving past the top edge of your mat, while this right hip, and even your tailbone, if you can picture it, is moving towards the bottom portion of your yoga mat. Okay, so you're lengthening the spine even though it's in this twisted feeling. 2 more breaths. And then we'll carefully return to center. You can hug the knees in. And we'll do the other side. We'll take the knees over to the right side. Now it's okay if that right leg, since we're going to the right leg is closest to the floor. Don't worry if the leg doesn't touch the floor. You might even bring in a towel, rolled up towel, a pillow, or one of your books or blocks. Or maybe it does touch the floor, but the left leg doesn't reach the right leg. There's a gap right there. So you might place, again, a cushion, a pillow, a block between the knees. And while the knees are going to the right, your left arm is going in the opposite direction to the left. And just for a little extra weight, you might have noticed this. I'm placing my right hand on top of this left leg, the top leg here, and really just letting it lie heavy. And it just sends weight down, creating a little bit more of a twist, kind of in the spine and low back area. You don't have to force this. It's just the weighted, natural weighted hand on the leg. And then continue to experience the lengthening of the spine, even though it's in this slight twist. Your tailbone and hips moving to the bottom edge of your mat, while the crown of your head is going to the top edge. Just take 3 more breaths. And then when you feel complete, let's bring the legs back to center. Hug the knees in. Let's actually extend the body once again. Extend the legs out front, arms behind you, lengthening, reach, extending and lengthening. And you can do those little side bends again here too, just to complement those side angle poses, that side plank pose, where we're reaching kind of over our heads. Alrighty. That brings us to the end of our moving practice. So just let everything relax completely here. Let the feet relax, your legs relax. You might even find that they just kind of fall open naturally, which opens the hips, kind Kind of notice all these things. Your back might start to settle into the ground. Your arms are on the floor. Your neck feels long. You can keep your eyes open and just gaze upward with soft eyes, or close your eyes if you'd like, and start to tune into your breath. Just as you did at the beginning of your practice, we just paid attention to the breathing. Mindful breath helps settle in, letting go of the things that are going on outside of us, so we can pay attention to what's going on inside of us. Slow, steady breaths. Maybe that's all that you're focusing on. Just the feeling and the movement of the breath. The whole body's relaxed. And maybe this extending and lengthening practice helped open some space within you. And if that's the case, use some of those deep breaths and fill up those newly open spaces. Stay here as long as you'd like. It's a wonderful opportunity just to rest your body, rest your mind. There's certainly no rush to move. Even as I end the practice, you're welcome to stay right here. To move just yet. Just continue to focus on your breathing, and even notice if your mind began to wander. Sometimes we start to think about different things, which takes us away from the present moment. If that's the case, just acknowledge the thought. Even tell yourself that you'll get back to that thought. Just kind of file it away for a moment. And then take a slow, deep breath, just to bring yourself back to the present moment. When it is time to move, rather than moving right away, you can just flutter your eyes open and return to the awareness of your breath. Take 5 slow, steady breaths. This will generate energy in the body, thereby producing movement in your body. Subtle movements at first. And more explicit movements. Then sometime after your 5th breath, you might even take a few more breaths. Slowly, carefully, roll to one side of your body. Take your time. Certainly no rush to move here. You can hold here for a moment in this nurturing pose, and eventually pressing and lifting yourself up, coming to a seated posture. Feel free to bring in a blanket or a pillow to sit on, something soft and comfortable. You can cross your legs here. Let's reintroduce that extended spine, nice and tall, sitting proudly. There we are. Shoulders and arms are relaxed. You can just let your hands rest in your lap or bring hands to heart center. Take one more breath in, fill up your lungs, and a complete exhale. One more time. And as we come to the close of our practice together, we bow saying, Namaste.
Thank you so much for watching and participating in this yoga lesson. To help us with the channel so we can continue to bring you more content, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It's really appreciated. Namaste.